Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, 790 The Score. Anyway, podcast, you can catch us and want to hear from you in Heated Hotline. You can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com, or you can give us a call, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Have a take. Leave us a message. We'll get to it. No game today, so we have Patriots first semester grades. Nice title, Joe. So we're going to be diving into this, and we're going to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline. We'll go into the coach's corner and see how they're doing. Go QB breakdown, give us Drake May's midseason grade, and go into Pat's preview a little bit. And even though there's no Patriots game, we're still going to go into Sunday spread and give you a few winners this week.
Oh, we have to. Oh, you have to go to Sunday spread.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
How are we making out after that nice 25? You got it out in Corso and Catone yesterday, though. 25-24 loss. We got it out a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, listen. We're a bad football team. Let me tell you something. We're just so bad.
So let's just give him an F and cut the show short. What do you say?
The show short. Let's go have a couple of Bloody Marys.
Yeah, let's give him an F and let's talk about Christmas gifts. let's talk about the gifts we like to give. No, but seriously, yeah, we got to go through this. We got to talk about what's been happening. It's not quite mid-season, but close enough. They're in their bye week. But first, we want to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline. Joe?
This is another write-in. Hey, this is James from Smithfield. I'm tired of talking about the coaches and the players. How about we talk about the friggin' owner? Those cheap bastards won't pay coaches. They won't pay GMs, and that's why this team sucks. Because they put people in place that don't know what the hell they're doing. Getting paid by other teams, and then wonder why the players in the field suck and the coaches can't coach. Can we get rid of them damn owners? Love the show.
Wow.
Who was that again?
That was James from Smithfield.
James, we appreciate the email, and we certainly apologize. Is that the same voice you did yesterday for the write-in on Heated Hotline?
No,
he was a little different today. A little different.
I wonder if James actually sounds like that. You know?
No.
Interested.
I guarantee
know that. You know? So let's hope you didn't insult James. And James, thank you for it. Okay, Mark. We've been wanting to get into this for quite a while. Okay. And who's responsible? That's what we should have named the show, Joe. Who's responsible for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because let's start with the ownership. How much blame should this team get? Or should the owners get?
Listen, I love the owners. They spend so much money. They're a first-class organization. Don't pick on the Crafts. No, the owners, Chris, obviously, listen. So it became quite obvious this year that it wasn't Belichick who wasn't willing to spend money and wasn't willing to do things to make this team a win after the loss of Brady. So listen, Kraft absolutely is number one, or one of the top reasons why this organization has started to fail. And so you're talking about the email is right about front office, Wolf, Grow. Why are those guys? Why are those guys here still? They were leftovers from Belichick. All you did after you hired Mayo was bash Belichick. So why did you keep Grow and Wolf? Like that whole front office should have been cleared out, Chris. You don't clear out the front office. The owner doesn't do that because he don't want to pay the money. He had to pay out Bill the last year of his contract. So he gets Mayo on the cheap. I'm sure Mayo's not making a lot of money, Chris. All these other coaches that they have, the guy, the email bag is right. All the other coaches you got are basically being paid by other teams. I mean, Covington's cheap. He's like the Little Sisters of the Poor anyways. And then, so I got to agree with what he's saying.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do too. And when you boil it down, when you break it down and say, okay, well, we're going to talk about the ownership. Yeah, well, look, they're cheap. We've been talking about that forever. Okay, that these guys don't want to pay anybody. They don't want to pay players. They don't want to pay coaches. They don't want to pay anybody. And I think it's the son. I don't even think it's the old man anymore.
Let me ask you a question though. When Belichick was there, do you think that when that meeting happened, whomever the player may have been at whatever time they needed whatever position, was it Belichick saying, we don't really need to pay this guy this? They're not worth it. I can make this guy out of someone else. Or was it Kraft going, I don't think we need to spend this amount of money. Can you find something else, Bill? That now predicated what they do now.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to skate both sides, but I think Belichick for sure in certain positions said, look, we don't need to overpay for this. We don't need to overpay for that. And I think maybe he did that with the quarterback, but I think overall, yeah, I mean, if Kraft's nonsense about I give him whatever he wants, no, there was a budget. There's for sure a budget. And the way they do their contracts, okay, well, we'll guarantee this on this, but we'll defer it to the back end of the contract, and then we'll stretch it out so it's more than 10 years, and we'll do it so, like, that's the kind of crap. We'll give him this incentive that will equal out that if you were to get it from another team. That's the kind of crap that goes on in that front office.
They ain't paying real guaranteed money, Chris, a lot of it up front.
No. But it goes back again, and I want to play this. I want to talk about Phil Perry made a good comment about coaching versus player. While Joe's setting that up the other day after the game, the Colts game, we talk about all the mistakes the players are making on the field, right, Mark? And we said this last week. Well, the penalties and the pre-snap penalties. Well, a lot of this is due to the fact that they're not good enough, and they're playing against poor players on the other, better players on the other team, and they're not good enough to make the grade. So they do things like anticipate snap counts, and they false start, right? So this is what we talked about, and Perry talked about this a little, Joe.
Redundancy. I mean, that's how he put it when he first stepped to the podium today and talked about some of the same things he's been talking about these last several weeks. I know they got routed in Miami, but just the penalties there and their unrelenting ability to shoot themselves in the foot that really hurt them in close games previous to that Dolphins game. And so, I look at it and I say, okay, well, what can the coaches maybe do to make sure that they iron this stuff out with the players? I went to Mike Owenu, who was called for a hold down in the red zone, helped kill one of those drives deep in Colts territory today. And he said, no, it's nothing the coaches could do. We're the players out there. We don't want to be committing penalties. They're punishing us in practice when we commit penalties in practice. And so they're trying to hold our feet to the fire as though it's at all related to talent. Mm-hmm. I mean, are you holding more just because you can't block a guy?
Yep.
Are you false start? And no false starts today, but are you trying to get a jump in Miami last week because you're about to get beat around the edge? I just wonder if the penalties are actually a talent issue more than a coaching issue.
Yeah. And that's my thought too. And so it takes it out of the coaches for a minute and brings it up the chain. Who was the call? Who was the write-in? Paul, Jason, somebody.
That was
James. Sorry. So that's the point. It goes up to Elliott Wolf, Grow, the people that are putting these guys on the field. And then you can go to the coaches and say, well, if you don't recognize that this guy keeps false starting because he sucks and he can't play, well, you as a coach need to figure out how to fix that problem, But to put the guys on the field, Mark, they need to go. Elliott Wolf, Grow, they need to go. That's it. I've seen enough. And so what are you going to do, Mark? You're going to have year 3 of Drake May? Because he's going to get fired. He's going to get fired. Wolf,
he will,
Grow,
Chris,
they're going to get fired.
But based on reports that came out this week, the fact that, Kraft basically saying that Mayo was on solid ground for 2025. And he also made the comment allegedly about, he's resided himself to the fact that this is going to be a multi-year type of a rebuild. Well, if that's what's coming out of the ownership's mouth, then that's a losing. No. You're becoming a losing organization, Chris. He's not getting rid of the coaching staff. He's not. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think he's getting rid of Mayo. Could there be a change at offensive coordinator? Could there be a change at defensive coordinator? That could be your change, Chris. It's not going to be Mayo, I do not believe.
No, it's not going to be Mayo this year, but my point is he's going to get fired. So if it's next year he gets fired and now you got year 3 where you got a new
Yeah.
coach that brings in a new offense and everything else. Now you've
Yeah.
blown 2 years of a rookie deal on Drake May,
Yep.
and now you're starting all over again. Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it
Rip
now.
the Band-Aid off. Look, Chicago got rid of that coach already. How long was he there? Was he even
That
there
was
2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, he
This
was
is
there
the
3
third year.
years. Okay,
Yeah.
so they ripped the Band-Aid off. All right. Well, that's a little long. I wouldn't have kept it that long. But
So, I mean, to me, they got to go. And you got to bring in, like we talked about, call Detroit, get their assistant GM, the next guy down on the list, bring him in as a GM, because this nonsense about, well, Mayo didn't pick Wolf as his GM. It should be the other way around.
yeah, it should be. Right? It should be.
Bring
why
that guy in. Bring Ben Johnson in.
Yeah.
And let's go. Right?
Yeah, I would bring him in. Listen, Chris, this organization. Listen, and you know what? Since we're talking about this coaching, I'm just going to throw it in too. And then this week, Chris, I don't know if you heard Belichick.
Well, wait, is this about coaching?
It's not necessarily about coaching. It's about the team itself.
All right.
It's not about coaching. He says that he feels bad. Again, he says he feels bad for his defensive players. You know, it's tough to go through such a bad season. I feel bad that. What do you think they went through last year? Their record was exactly the same. They won 3 games.
3-10 at this stage.
Listen, if you want to bash the coaching because you went on top as like a Super Bowl champion, or you won 12 games and went to the playoffs and then they just parted ways with you, okay. But you were just as bad last year. So listen, forget the pay. You got to give the pettiness up now. They took shots at you. Yes, they took shots at Bill. Bill has now given some shots back. Now it's time just to let it go. Now it's over. It's done with. They stink, but you stunk last year. So you're not winning. You're not winning that argument, Bill. I'm sorry.
I don't care. I don't care what Bill says. Bill's not here anymore. Bill can't do anything about this.
No.
The freaking Crafts need to do something about this and need to get rid of the damn GM. They need to clean the house. That's it. Clean it. They should have cleaned it last year. Can I be the owner? Can we clean that house out too?
Can you imagine if you were the owner?
I get kicked right out.
Can I get rid of Robin Glazer? Because I don't know what she does either.
I don't know what any of them do. So Jason, right? Jason, you are right. We would can James. We would can. Oh, Jason and James. We would can all of them. We would go across the board. You know our plan. You know what we would do, and that's what would happen. So, thank you for that email. It really, it hits home. Get rid of them all. So, Heated Hotline was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Hey, when we come back, we're going to stay on management. We're just going to go in the coach's room. Coach's Corner is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, Mark. Let's go into the coaching room. What do you say?
We might as well. We'll talk about what a great coaching staff they have.
Giuseppe?
Coach's Corner.
All right, thank
you love that wash. Those of you on 790, you got to go watch this on YouTube, the Pats Nation on YouTube, just to see that wash, that Coach's Corner wash with the it's like the island of misfit toys is what it is.
They really, really are.
My God.
Really are. So, okay, we talked about ownership. We talked about the GM. Thanks to the writer, the write-in. Let's talk about Mayo now. Okay. We think they should can them all. We said it. We said it already. We've been saying it, but
we went
why?
through that yesterday too on
why?
CORSO CATONE.
Why does Mayo need to go? What's the problem?
Listen,
and I like him. Let me preface it by saying I like him. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I like him as a guy. I think he's
bottom line business, Mark. It's a bottom line business.
You got no heart. You're heartless. You're like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Listen. So, wow, you're showing your age, Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. Now, you're watching shows at 3 a.m. from 1936, cartoons.
I don't have a heart.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Come on, Dorothy.
No.
Give it to us,
Oh.
Dorothy. Let's go.
Ah, my little chickadee. Listen, we're off the rails today.
Yeah, well,
Listen,
it's a bye week.
So, Chris, listen. First of all, Mayo, we talked about the fact that what experience did he have? He wasn't even a DC.
Yeah.
He was a de facto DC who really wasn't a DC. Belichick's son was a DC. Oh, okay, he addressed the room because the kid was awkward in front of the players. So he addressed the room. But
Talk
he
about
he
a misfits toys. Holy crap. Think about that for a minute. Listen to the statement you just made. But go ahead, Siri. Go ahead.
Listen, you're the attorney, Chris, but somebody's going to go into court for you because you're awkward. You can't speak in front of the court, right? I really?
You can't make it up.
You can't make that up. But anyways, so he really wasn't calling plays, Chris. He wasn't even a defensive coordinator. So all of a sudden you promote him to be the head coach when he doesn't even have the experience to do that. We've talked about this during the course of the season. I mean, I know we're a little past halfway, but we've talked about the fact that his clock management, his situational football, his attention to detail, the things that his command of the play calling and making decisions and being able to even make the decision of, do I throw a red flag or not to challenge a play? All of those things, Chris, he just doesn't have command of it. It's like everything is, you said this back in the summer. You said, Mark, wait until the season starts. Everything's going to be moving too fast for this guy. And now we've seen for 12, 13 weeks, that's exactly what's happening, Chris. Things are moving too fast for this guy. And you see it.
Yeah.
You know?
You see it in game situations, game management stuff. We talked about it yesterday in CORSO and CATONE. For example, in the Indianapolis game, the challenge. Okay. It's 3rd and 10. He doesn't challenge the call. The guy clearly dragged the ball off the ground, and he doesn't challenge the call. Okay,
I'm talking about the tight end, that catch, right?
Yeah,
we think it was a non-catch, but yep.
Right. He doesn't challenge. Mayo doesn't challenge the call. It would have been 4th and 10. We think they would have won that challenge, and he doesn't do it. And so now it's 4th and 1, and now that's part of that 19-play drive. And after the game, okay. And while Joe's queuing that up, Mayo had something to say about that challenge after the game, talking about when asked, hey, why didn't you challenge that? It looked like the ball scraped against the ground, looked like he didn't have it. And this is what he says.
Terrell, there was a few minutes to go. I think it was a 3rd and 8 catch by Mallory. Looked like it might have wobbled from our perspective. You decided not to challenge that, but I think you had 3 timeouts at that point. Did you consider that? What went into that decision?
We were waiting to see the replay. Never really got a clear shot of it, so I didn't challenge it.
That's nonsense, Mark. That's nonsense. We saw it. The idiot sitting home like you and me, okay, drooling on ourselves, saw the replay. Are you telling me there's not somebody up in the booth that could do this, that could just turn? And for those of you on the radio, I'm turning to my left. They can't just turn and look behind them at the TV like we're watching? They probably got 16 of them in the room.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, listen, that's a cop-out, Chris. The fact that he didn't do it, he should have just, listen, if they weren't sure when he called upstairs, he should have just threw it anyways. Because, and took it, at that point of the game, take a shot. Because if you win the challenge, like you said, Chris, now it's 4th and 10. And the chances are, Indy had 3 timeouts, they probably would have tried to pin you deep. I don't think they would have went for it on 4th and 10, Chris, if they reversed
right.
it. I don't think it.
I agree. I agree. So there were things like that.
And then, Chris, he's questioned after the game about why he didn't call a timeout.
Yeah.
On, was it the 4th down?
On, may have been in
the 2-point conversion.
The 2-point conversion, yeah.
On the 2-point conversion, he doesn't call a timeout. And he says, well, you could play it either way, but, we've had success not calling the timeout in Super Bowls here. So, I was okay with it. We've had success. What success did he have? He wasn't the coach. He wasn't on the field. What is he talking about, Chris? He's just a buffoon. He's turning into a buffoon. in
Yeah.
these press conferences. He
Yeah.
really is turning into a buffoon. Like he's over his head in all aspects, Chris. Now it's even during press conferences, he's over his head.
Yeah, you don't want to call. You want to call the timeout on fourth. Okay, you call the timeout on 4th and 1, and Indy had a 4th and 1. When they're scrambling, the play clock running down, and they're trying to get a playoff, then you call timeout. But on the 2-point conversion, you don't call a timeout to get your team right and set and force Indianapolis into a play they may not want to run after seeing the formation. You don't do it. Listen, again, you're right. We've been right. We said it last December that he's a good guy, but he's not ready. He's got to go be a coordinator somewhere else in some other team, develop relationships, fail a little bit, and then come on back and be a head coach. You don't know anyone. You have no connections. That's why we got a crappy offensive coordinator, because the only guy you could pull out was Nick Caley, and he didn't want the job. And then you threw your hands up in the air and said, well, that's it. I blew my, I don't know anybody else. So,
And that's why, Chris, you're stuck with Wolf,
right?
And Grow, because who does he know to revamp the front office? He doesn't know anybody. Nobody's going to come here for him.
And it's the wrong order. We just said that. You got to GM picks the coach, owner picks the GM picks the coach picks the coordinators, and on it goes.
And
Not
on
here.
it goes. Yeah.
Here it's a friggin' mosh posh of nonsense. It's like you said, Island of Misfit Toys. You got guys from last year's staff that are still on the team. You got first-time coordinators across the board. You got first-time GM. You got first-time head coach. So, Mark, should he be fired? Should he be gone? Mayo.
If it was me, yes, I'd pull the trigger. And you've brought this up a zillion times, and I'd go offer the OC from Detroit, Ben Johnson, whatever he wants. How much? I don't care what the number is. I would give it to him just to get him here. And yes, I would fire Mayo. And just for the record, the Super Bowl that he was referring to in that press conference was the Seattle game. When Belichick doesn't call the timeout.
2014.
Belichick doesn't call the timeout. And Belichick, I'll take him at his word for it. Belichick claims he was watching Pete Carroll on that sideline, and they looked confused and unorganized. And he said, you know what? Let the play go, because he didn't think they knew what they were doing. They were scrambling, so he didn't call timeout to give them time to set up. Now, whether or not Bill was embellishing, I'm going to take him at his word, Chris, because he did used to study sidelines. But for Mayo to refer to that, like that's what, like he was in control and knew what he was doing. We've done that before and it's worked. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah. No, you could believe Belichick because you've heard him in other Super Bowls saying, I can't see McVay. I can't see him. Where is he on the sideline?
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's what good coaches do.
That's not what Mayo's doing.
They pay attention. They understand. Like I said, nice guy, but this is not a nice guy league. Okay, it's not a nice guy league. So yeah, I'm with you. We already said we'd go get the assistant GM in Detroit, and then go get Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator there. And I'm okay then with taking another year to develop it. So now in Drake May's third year, you're ready to go. That's fine.
Drake May's third year, you're ready to compete. Yeah.
Because mark my words, Mayo's going to get fired next year. The whole staff is, and now you're going to be bringing a new coach and a new system in year 3 for Drake May, and we're going to be even more pissed off than we are.
So your
now.
prediction is Mayo gets fired after the second year. They'll give him one more year and then he'll go.
Yep.
Okay.
And now you're screwed. Now you're really screwed.
Yeah. Now you're
because you're not taking advantage of the rookie quarterback. Okay. So if Mayo needs to go, so you give him a grade. What's your grade for Mayo right now?
F.
Yeah, I'm there. Okay. So now you say, okay, well, Mayo stays. What about Alex Van Pelt?
Goes. Have to replace him. Chris, listen. Okay, if you want to try to give him credit for May, okay, I guess you can. But I don't know if that's him or if that's the quarterback's coach that's developing him. Because let's not forget the quarterback's coach was with the Giants, and supposedly he's a quarterback's guy. And even if Van Pelt has developed May, Chris, he should be developing May, because that's all Van Pelt's ever really been, has been a quarterback's coach. That's all he knows. He's not an OC, Chris. His play calling in the red zone stinks. I don't like his play personnel packages. I don't like the offense they run. You're not going to go anywhere with that type of with the offense he wants to run in 2024. I'd fire him.
Yeah, and you know
What say you?
Well, I mean, you got debates, like Tom.
Oh, you're
after the
gonna
game-
waffle now.
Not me. I'm saying that will you let me talk? Will you please? Look, he's all feisty in his after his Catone's comments yesterday about whatever the hell you were talking about with the recalls on the cars and the car's going to explode in your driveway, whatever the hell that was. But no, I mean, look, you had debates going on all over the place. You have Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston with Phil Perry. After the game, they had a debate on that, and I think we have some of that, Joe.
I can't play now.
Yeah,
Alex
you
Van
got
Pelt
it,
here,
Phil.
Tom. This is not an Alex Van Pelt game.
No,
in my
he
opinion.
had
So I
an
disagree with you.
unbelievable game. He had
Tom,
great-
they should have scored 40 points,
I
Tom.
know.
It's
Great
a team
script.
that's got replacement level players across the board. They should have scored 40 points. We're complaining about the play calling.
No doubt, because at the end of the game, if you're a dynamic offense has been going up and down the field on him, why are you going to run Ramondre Stevenson twice into the line and then punt?
Phil Perry, I love you, but you're wrong. And Curran's listen. You can't get more of a what do you call it? A company guy.
Yeah, of course
than
not.
Curran.
No.
Okay. So
These guys built their careers, Chris, over the course of 20 years with Brady and those guys. That's how they came up.
yeah. He did his show with Mayo on it. He's never going to say a bad word about Mayo.
No.
But I agree with him this time. Look, Mark, after those two interceptions, okay, you had the Ellis interception where, where is that? Following that interception, the ball was on the 50-yard line at that point. Okay. Most teams do what when that happens? Coming right out, the offense.
They take a shot down the field, Chris.
Right. They had a 1-yard run.
That was a perfect chance, Chris, for play action and throw that ball that they throw up the sideline of Butte that they've scored on before. Take a shot.
Nope. They ran the ball into the line for 1 yard. Following the Gonzalez one. Okay. 2-yard. This is what Curran was talking about. A 2-yard run, a 3-yard run, a sack, and now a punt. You talk about deflation of a team.
Yeah.
So with that in that situation, I mean, is he hurting May more than he's helping him at this point by holding him down? Alex Van Pelt, because Mark, he's so conservative, he won't let him use his legs in the red zone. He won't let him cook. When May is going and going and going, all of a sudden you see 2 runs in a row, 2 ISO runs or even a zone run for a yard or 2 yards, and it just deflates everything. It just kills the drive,
Yeah. No, absolutely. He won't. Chris, you could take the training wheels off this kid. We've talked about this previously. Put him in some hurry-up situations. Get him to the line. Let him call things from the line. Let him take control of the game and the situation. You're right. Van Pelt is not willing to do that for whatever reason, Chris, and I don't know why that is.
So I'll give him for a grade. I'll give him a D. I'll give him a
Van
D.
Pelt?
Yeah, I'll give him a D because they've had some success on offense of late. They're getting a little better.
I'll give him a D minus.
Okay, that's fine. The hell you come up with a D minus? I don't even want. We don't have time to even go into where the minus is, Joe. But so he's got to go, in my opinion, too. I don't like the type of offense. And lastly, Covington. Again, defensive linemen should not be defensive coordinators right away. Period.
Defensive line coaches.
Yes, defensive line coaches should not be defensive coordinators. It should be a linebackers coach or even better, a secondary coach, because they got to understand what's going on all in front of them. Defensive line doesn't really need to necessarily get what's happening in the secondary, in the defensive backs.
Nope.
He's out-coached every week, every single week. He makes adjustments. They're too late. God damn, he's even got his players saying it, that the adjustments are coming too late in the game. Okay?
Well, I'm hoping, Chris, that we tried to give him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of the year, but it hasn't changed. It's the same week it's the same thing every week. Chris, listen, the touchdown pass to Taylor, when he comes out of the backfield and he catches the screen pass and there's nobody near him. Now, that same play call, Chris, that same formation in motion happened the week before in Miami. The running back, what's his name? Arcane came out of the backfield. There was nobody within 10 yards of him. Same thing. He scores. How does that happen 2 weeks in a row to you? They read the defense. They called it. They said, okay, they're in the same defense. Listen, they obviously did some studying, some film study, because Indy went to the same call, Chris. They called this. They saw the formation. They went to the same call that Miami scored on the week before.
Yeah.
What the hell's coming doing?
F. That's my grade for him. F. Not because he's not an eligible guy, but just because he's not ready. He's another guy that's not ready. He gets an F. He needs to go. So,
definitely F.
All right, there's the whole coaching staff needs to go. That's it. Period. So,
an F for fail.
Fail. That's it. Coach's Corner was presented by CORSO Catone, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got Catone's comments. We got B's and C's. Mark melts down at various points in time.
I want to do another Catone's comments. I'll come up with something right now.
It's all good stuff. So make sure you're tuning into that. But when we come back, we're going to go Pat's preview, talk about the offense, the defense, so much more. Stick around. The real deal New England field. What does that mean? We're like you. We're going to bitch about everything.
My opinion, our draft, the good, the bad, it was ugly.
These people, Mark, drive me freaking insane. Bananas.
It's so frustrating and aggravating. I can't take it.
The real deal New England field. It's going to be real. Back in with more Pats Nation. Okay, want to do a little, we'll call it Pat's preview, but we're really talking about their grades, how they're doing. So it's sort of like a preview for next season, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, kind of. Almost a little preemptive. Yeah, a little preemptive for next
season. All right,
season.
Joe. Let's get Coach's Corner off the screen and let's.
Pats preview.
Okay, so let's talk about the offense first. Let's talk about Drake May and his progression. Okay, and the grade that we're going to give him. From when we saw him, let's not go back to OTAs. I don't like shorts and t-shirts. Let's talk about
back to the preseason.
Yeah. From then to now, one, how's he progressed as far as you're concerned? And two, was it a mistake not to play him right off the bat, week one?
Chris, I think it's like night and day as far as his footwork, his understanding of what he's seeing, his checkdowns, control of the offense, controlling the huddle, respect from the players. It's all clearly there. I think you heard rumblings of it like two or 3 weeks before they finally put him in the lineup to start. Listen, they could have started him just like Chicago and Washington started their rookie quarterbacks, because I think, Chris, as this plays out, he's going to end up being the best of the bunch. When you watch him play, Chris,
I think he is
run.
Now.
He can, I mean, listen, everyone keeps saying, oh, he's like a young Josh Allen. Josh Allen didn't throw the ball this well.
Not like this. He was terrible.
Right?
Well, he threw the ball.
He was a great athlete, but he didn't throw the ball like this as a rookie.
No. He's a cross to me between Herbert and Allen.
Yeah.
In my opinion. The only reason why I give him a B for the season so far, and the only reason why I can't give him an A is because they're not winning. Well, look, there are other reasons they're not winning. That's not on Drake May. I get that. But in key situations at end of game a couple of times, he's turned the ball. He's thrown some bad throws. He's had some bad reads, and he's turned the ball over. So for that reason, I can't give him an A. No rookie should get an A. What the hell are we talking about? But again, solid B, because as you said, the way you got to look at this is he better week to week? Is he building on the good things that he's doing? And is he trying to eliminate the bad things? And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing his ability to read the defense. I'm seeing his ability to do the things that when he came into this league, and we talked about his deficiencies, which were creating his own pressure, bailing out of the pocket too soon, things like that. Not reading the defense, wanting to, like I said, throwing off his back foot, not climbing the pocket. All these things that we saw in North Carolina, he's eliminated a lot of those, Mark. And that's even under distress and pressure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, listen, Chris, I give him a B+. You gave him a B, I give him a B+. So I'll go.
I don't know where he's coming up with these pluses and minuses, Joe. What the hell is the plus?
Listen, it's a plus. It's a little bit above a B. It's a plus. I can't give him an A either, Chris. You're right, because listen, they are still losing, right? So I mean, I don't think it'd be fair to give him an A and blame everybody else. He's gonna take a little bit of ownership for this too, Chris. There's been games where he has thrown picks. He has, he's made maybe a wrong, the game where was it him? Was it Pop Douglas at the end of the game when he throws the pick? Who was that on? We think it was on Douglas, but listen, to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, I think you can't give him an A. You're right, Chris. You gotta give him a BB plus. But listen, like you said, he may be better already. He may be better. He may end up being the best in this draft class as the best quarterback in this draft class.
Oh, I think he is. I mean, he's doing so much more with so much less. Put it this way. He's the quarterback in this group, to me, that I feel like can elevate other players, can elevate the play of other people, of a lesser player. I don't know that I could say that about Daniels, and I certainly am not saying that about Williams, because and here's the other reason why. The last thing I'll say is that throw to Hunter Henry was a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that was on Henry. He bobbled it and it ended up in an interception, right?
Yeah.
Drake May took it on the chin for that. Caleb Williams, okay? That Thanksgiving Day game, on the coach. The coach should have just banged the timeout when he saw that things weren't progressing the way they were. But Caleb Williams should take that hit. You're the goddamn quarterback of the team. You get to the line with 20 seconds left, okay, where you need 4 yards to kick a field goal, and you can't get that ball snapped. Oh, I'm sorry. It was like 20-something seconds left. You can't get the ball snapped by 15 seconds? Are you kidding me?
Nobody got his coach fired.
Right. And then you can't get the ball snapped by the 15-second mark and then call a friggin' timeout. And then on top of it, come into the post game and not take the blame. You should have been in the post game saying, this was on me. This was on me. Drake May takes that beating.
Chris, Drake May did it the day he came out and saluted the defense, remember? And he said that I got to play better. He's taking the beating in press conferences. This kid didn't take the beating. You're right.
No. And so, okay, let's talk about the rest of the offense now. Okay, and I wanted to we have a cut from Perry while Joe's getting that ready. I want to talk wide receivers and give them their grades. I want to talk offensive line. But Joe, can you play that clip?
Just an alarming lack of detail that continues to plague this offense specifically. Really plagued the entire team today. I'm sure you were losing your mind when you saw Jonathan Taylor leak out to the flat. Nobody within 10 yards of him, 20 yards of him, 30 yards of him. I don't know, for an easy touchdown defensively. I'm sure you were going absolutely bonkers when it came to that. But offensively, you have the 2 holds that turn a first and goal from the 2 situation into a first and goal from the 22 situation, leads to a field goal. How about Mike Owenu? Just mentioned him. Right after the Christian Gonzalez pick, they have on 3rd down a loss of 3 yards because he didn't hear the change of the play at the line of scrimmage, which he acknowledged. Everyone else did, apparently, but he didn't get it. And
oh, my God, is right.
How can that even be possible from a professional football player, Chris?
Unbelievable.
You didn't get to change the line? Would that be on May?
No, it's sloppy. It's just sloppy all around. No, it's not on May. He's calling out the Tingles. You got to understand. He thinks they get it. You want to put something on May, you put like the legal motion penalty where he doesn't allow him to get set, things like that. But this, no. So talking about the old line, and that was Phil Perry of Boston Sports Network. So obviously they get an F. Obviously, Mark, they get an F.
Of course they get an F.
But who on this team is worth keeping on the offensive line? I mean, is it more of an edge situation? Is it more of a tackle versus interior? Like, what do we have here?
I guess you gave him a contract. You got to keep Owenu.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's one guy I would keep. Yep.
I mean, if Andrews comes back healthy and wants to play another year, you keep Andrews.
Well, I mean, they're probably keeping these up, but who should be on the field? Like, who do you see on this offensive line that should get more time when next year rolls around?
Tampa. Yeah, okay.
They should go to Tampa.
Yeah, no. Who on this offensive line, Chris? That I was going to say was Andrews. Obviously, should be on the. Oh, that's a given, right? I think if you put Owenu back to his original position, Chris, which is guard, I think that's where he's been lately because they were moving all over the place at one point. And I think the rookies, Chris, if you put them in the right positions, Like, I think that kid from Penn State has
Wallace?
the potential. Wallace has the potential to eventually be a right tackle, I think, Chris.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him, you know.
We haven't seen him, though.
We haven't seen him playing. To me, Jacobs, nope, gone. Done.
No, go on.
Brown.
Did they release him this week?
Jacobs. Was Jordan that was
Jordan.
released.
That's who they released.
The left
Jordan,
guard,
yeah.
but then they re-signed them back on the practice squad. So, to me, Jacobs shouldn't see the field anymore.
No.
Okay. Who the hell is playing left guard over there? Lowe.
Verdarian Lowe.
Lowe's a backup. Lowe should be
Yeah,
backing up whoever we get as a starting tackle next year.
Lowe's got a little bit of versatility to him. You're right. Lowe can be a backup. He can be a backup.
Robinson, to me, let's see how the offseason plays out with him. Can he get better at left guard? Okay.
Yeah,
there may be some potential
and
there.
then on top
and
of that, Chris, then there's no depth either. So even if you keep a handful, even if you keep a couple of them, there's no depth. There's nobody behind them, so it doesn't matter. The whole room needs to be revamped.
I think Brown as center is terrible.
Oh, he's awful. You don't have a backup for Andrews. Your backup centers are terrible. If Andrews decides to retire at the end of the year, which he could, you're screwed at that position.
Right. And so I think, what's Cole Strange going to be? Can you going to make him a center? Fine. Try that out.
Well, I'm thinking, what else are you going to do with them, Chris? I mean, they already tried putting him at guard, tackle, whatever they tried to do with him. I think
he's always hurt.
You got to try to put him at center, Chris.
So, okay, do you do it in free agency? Do you go get the best tackles? You go get the two best tackles that are out there in free agency, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. You go get the two best tackles in free agency, because we're going to talk about in the next segment why you go get the two tackles in free agency.
Yeah. Well, let's get to that. Let's talk about the wide receivers now. Okay. Listen, I'll just go down the list because, you know.
Yes, we don't really need to get into much detail for these grades.
No. Bourne, in or out?
Out.
Osborne, out.
Out.
Polk.
I think
he's going to be there.
He's a second-round pick. He's going to be there one more year at least.
Booty.
In.
Douglas.
In.
Who am I missing? Baker. Well, let's go this way. Let's talk about it this way. So what do they do? How do they get the number one? How do they get their best receiver? How do they get it? What way do they go out and get one?
I think you got to sign one. Two things. I think you got if Higgins is there, if you can get him, I don't care what he's going to cost. He's not a one.
Yeah,
he's not a one, but he's a solid number two. You go get him to play two. You lose the rest of your games, and you draft Travis Hunter from Colorado. Potentially could be the Heisman Trophy winner. Listen, you know how I am with wide receivers, Chris. The kid's a one. He's a one. Without question, that kid's a one.
So then your room would look like, if you did it, and you got the money to do it. So you got Hunter, you got Higgins, you got Douglas,
Booty, and I guess Polk
Baker. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that because now you can see if Polk or Baker can pop it all. I'm okay with that. Listen, I think Bourne, Chris, is a good veteran. He's a nice guy to have in a locker room, but I just don't think with what you need, you can keep him. I think maybe he can show something at the end here, the last 3 or 4 games, and maybe you could get a 6th-round pick for him, something.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to bring him back.
No, and I'm fine with the tight ends. Stevenson.
Well, I don't know if they'll bring Hooper. Well, I guess Hooper's cheap money, but I mean Henry, I'm okay with Henry.
Yeah, I'm all right.
But I still think you need a young tight end, Chris, an athletic tight end. They drafted that kid from Florida State, Bell. I think they thought he could give them some of that. He really isn't, or he doesn't. Times he's in the game, he looks a little lost to me.
Yeah.
Maybe he develops, but you need a young athletic tight end, Chris. Though you do need one of those.
Well, we'll see about that, and then a running back. I think now they re-signed Stevenson, so you're stuck with him. But Gibson, to me, is the guy you would want. He's more Gibson, of a new style running back than
he's a new style running back. I keep Gibson. You need Jameer Gibbs and Devin Montgomery from Detroit. That's who you need.
Well, that ain't Stevenson.
No. So you went and signed the running back The big thumper that Bill Belichick liked, you re-signed him. That was smart.
Right. So
Bill's not here anymore, guys.
So this is what we think about the offense and where they need to go. But it's a hell of a lot easier in my book to fix that problem than what we're about to talk about. So let's talk about the defense now, Mark. Okay.
My boy. Oh,
to me, it's the much tougher fix because they have deficiencies all the way. They have deficiencies at every single level. They're undersized at defensive line. Now, they got Bondmore back. They got Godchow. Those are two guys worth keeping, obviously.
Obviously,
Okay?
I keep them.
Equale and anybody else they got over there right now.
I would say they're expendable.
Yeah. You need a run-stopping defensive tackle. Okay? You need a guy to play opposite next to Godchow. Okay? You need that. You have to have that to free up Bondmore to be able to specialize in pass rush because that's what he does. So you need that, period. And that's something you can get in the draft if you got any brains. Okay? You can get that done. You know, you got eyeballs and brains. All right?
Okay.
On the edge, Jennings, in or out?
Out.
Boucher's already gone. What the hell else did he got out there?
Taki.
Ngakwe on the end.
Yeah.
Dietrich Wise.
I guess you could keep Wise as a rotational guy, Chris, not a starter. Maybe
The problem is you signed all these clowns. So,
well, that's the other thing.
Whether you signed them or not, like you're not going anywhere. Dietrich Wise is not no, done, gone. I'm done with him. I'm finished with Wise.
Okay, he's done. See ya.
I'm finished with Wise. I'm finished with Jennings too. I had enough. I've seen enough of him too.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue, and if you want to continue across the linebacking core, I'm done with the entire inside linebacking group. Enough. Taki, gone. Ellis, gone. McMillan, gone. Tavai, gone.
Oh, you're showing no mercy today.
Gone.
Tavai.
Done. I'm done.
Would you keep Bentley?
Yeah, I'll keep Bentley because of the leadership and all that crap. That's it.
Okay.
But I want a sideline to sideline player. I want a Fred Warner. Period. End of story. That's what this team needs. That's what they should get. And there'll be a few guys in free agency. Patrick Queen was there last year, and they could have had him. Okay? You can find guys at SEC schools in the draft. Go down to an SEC school and go find their middle linebackers and put them on the team. Those are guys that go sideline to sideline. You need that.
Yeah. I'm afraid, Chris, that he's as much as he's tried to distance himself from Belichick, he believes in Belichick's style on defense. He believes in the run stuff is the big bang is in the middle. I don't know if Mayo is really looking for sideline to sideline linebackers like you would want, like a Warner. I don't know if that fits his system because I think he runs Belichick's system.
Well, that's why Mayo's going to go.
That's why Mayo's going to go. I was just going to say
because
that. That's why he has to go, Chris.
I mean, you know how much easier it is for a pass rush to have guys in the middle of the field that you're comfortable with taking on tight ends, taking on running backs, and maybe even a receiver here and there?
Yeah.
Where you can now pin your ears and get upfield? It's so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah.
So you need to revamp that right there. You see why this is becoming tougher on defense?
And what about the safeties?
Well, let's go to the safeties now, okay? Because to me, I'm done with you. Re-sign Duggar, you're stuck with him. But I'm down on Duggar. I like Peppers. I like him. I want to keep Peppers. Yeah. He's probably the only safety I want on this team. Schooler, Pettis, Hasty. I mean.
Schooler's special teams, right?
Okay, fine. Take him out. But Pettis, Hasty, Mapu. Tell me about Mapu. What do you think of him?
He's going to go, Chris. Come on. He's undersized. Listen. So you got guys on this team, Chris, that no one else uses. Like Belichick, decided he liked these box safeties because they were versatile. They could do different things. And you go and re-sign Duggar, and he drafts Mapu when you could have gotten other more skilled players at that position of the draft in that particular draft. What are you doing with all these guys, Chris? These box guys.
No, they're not built.
What is that? Is that to substitute for not having a sideline to sideline linebacker?
I think they're trying to put that square peg into that round hole but only Belichick understood that, and that's what he did. You're done. It's over. You need a center field safety. So if you got Duggar and you got Peppers, okay, those are your strong safeties. That's an old style term, okay?
Yep.
For these guys. But those are your basic box safeties, your number 2 safety, fine. But you need a center fielder. You need a guy that can sit back there. It can get sideline to sideline, get, good pass coverage. It can get high point and all that good stuff. That if he's got to come down in the slot and play, he can do it. Fine. Now, how about the other corner? Right. Because past Marcus Jones,
Chris, other than Marcus
and
Jones,
Gonzalez,
the whole room needs to go.
all of them. Jonathan Jones, done.
I don't know.
Finished.
I don't know what happened to him, Chris. He took like 3-4 steps backwards.
He fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Jones gone. Austin gone. Who's that? Wilson or somebody gone. It's enough. Like they're not good enough. And there's plenty of free agent corners out there, and there's plenty of corners in the draft, if you know what the hell you're looking at, that can come in and play that boundary corner.
Sure. Listen, you passed on a receiver who's becoming the number 1 receiver in Seattle, which I predicted, to draft Gonzalez. So at the very least, if you're gonna, now that you got Gonzalez there, you got to try. If you reached that asset in the first round of the draft on him, you got to do something to solidify the other side, Chris, because otherwise, then that was a wasted pick.
You got to get a veteran. You got to get a veteran corner.
Yeah, you got to get a veteran
on that back end, and they come in there like that Gilmore situation. That's what you need. So overall grade for the defense, Mark.
They've really regressed, Chris. F.
Yeah, I agree. I don't care that they're ranked 28th. Look, they're 32nd in some categories.
Nah, please.
No, I'm not. But
Chris, the
22nd.
Stinks. The defense stinks. And listen, real quick, when we went over the because we're gonna get the Sunday spread. When we went through the wide receiver group, I forgot to bring up to you. Listen, problem would have been solved. Some of the problems could have been solved if they would have went with your draft pick last year, McConkey, instead of taking Polk. He was on the board. You let him go. You didn't take him.
And you didn't need to trade. You didn't need to move.
You traded down a couple of spots to get a little bit of capital, and then you drafted Polk.
You didn't need to move to take McConkey.
No, he was there.
I was screaming at your son and I were screaming at the television about that.
And for those of you this year, when the combine happens, and Chris and I are a little bit obsessive with it, but when it comes, you're going to watch the wide receivers work out and watch the gauntlet drill, which Chris loves. And he was blown away by him, and he was blown away by Nakua of the Rams
a couple of years before.
Yep.
So my grade for them is failing. It's a failing grade for the defense. It's a failing grade for the coaching staff and all across the board. So that's what we think of. That's our Pats preview. So it was
not much of a preview.
No, but it was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Like Mark said, when we come back, going to make you some money in Sunday spread. No flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer. But things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pats Nation.
Oh, here we go.
Catches me every single time. He catches me every single time with that little jingle there, that little casino jingle.
You know by now, right?
I always say I'm like the Pied Piper, just play that, and I just end up in a casino. All right, Mark, last week it did pretty good. I picked 4 games. I was 2 for 4.
Yeah, we did pretty good last week. I think I went 3 for 4, I think.
Yeah. What do you got?
So this week, Chris. I'm going to do it. I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with your Arizona Cardinals at home.
You hate to do it. Why do you hate to do it?
Because I just don't think that
they cover every week.
They do cover every week. I'm going to take them against Seattle.
Tough game to pick. That's
tough game. One. Arizona's at home. Listen,
coming off
Seattle,
a really heartbreaking loss too.
yeah, heartbreaking loss. I think they rebound at home. And Seattle, Chris, I think they're winning with mirrors. I still don't know. I don't know how they're 7-5. I really don't.
That's not. They're,
So-
they're not. That team's not
Right?
going anywhere. Yeah.
No. So I'm going to go with Seattle. Arizona. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Arizona.
What's the spread?
2.5, 3. It's
Okay.
fluctuating between the both. I'm going to go with at home. I think they're desperate. They have to win. I'm going to go with Miami. I think they're going to blow the Jets out. I think the Jets had a chance to win again last week. They gave that game up. I think this week they go on the road at Miami. I think they're gonna suffer a similar fate of New England. When New England went down and got blown out, I think the Jets are going to get blown out.
I was looking at that game, but I just don't believe in Miami.
No,
Like
I know,
just,
I know you don't. I know you don't. And then my last pick, if you want to do a tease, my last pick for the week will be, and I've gone back and forth on this one as well. I watched the game last week, Chris. Jesus Christ, the luck's got to run out. I'm going to take the points with the Chargers. I'm going to take the points. And if it's a tease, you're getting even more points. I'm going to throw them in the tease.
I'm taking the 4 points, and I'm taking the Chargers because I think they'll cover that. I mean, the KC will probably win because they always sneak it out, but it won't be. Now, if that line goes to 3, change it up. But I'll take the Rams.
Yeah.
I'll take the Chargers with 4. The other game I like is Buffalo's giving up 3.5 at the Rams. Buffalo's not going to lose again.
You think they're going to win at Detroit the following week?
They're not going to lose again.
Wow, that's a big prediction right there.
They will not lose again.
And if they don't lose again, then I think they get home field advantage because I do think Kansas City will lose one more game.
Yeah.
And I think that Buffalo owns the tiebreaker head-to-head.
I want Detroit to win next week, but I don't see it happening. So those are the 2 games I like. Then the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game. Now, line 6.5. I think Pittsburgh's going to blow them out, just absolutely obliterate Cleveland. I had a game like that last week. I can't remember who the hell it was that I said it's a lock. Washington, I think it was.
It was Washington. It was Washington.
Well, this is the game.
Because you called me up screaming, I can't believe I didn't bury this game. Yeah. You didn't put enough on it.
And so this Pittsburgh game with Cleveland's going to be similar. Pittsburgh's going to blow the doors off this team. And then if you really want to throw a team in there, you got the Raiders versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's given up 6.5. I think it's another team that's going to blow. I think they're going to blow. Look, that line would be higher if Vegas didn't almost beat Kansas City last week. So take advantage of that and take Tampa, because Tampa 6.5. Oh yeah, I think they're going to win by a hell of a lot more than that and run away with that division down there at some point. So that's what I think, Mark. Let's hope we can make some money for these people.
Oh, we need to make some money. It's the holiday season. We're going to make a little money.
So everyone, make sure you enjoy your little bit of a break. I think we all needed a break from this Patriots team, don't you, Mark?
Oh, we definitely needed a break, especially after last week's loss.
Joe, how you feeling about that?
Yeah,
that sighing says it all.
By the way, Chris, you know what we should have did? Maybe we could just touch on it briefly next week. We should have went through to see how our preseason predictions are at this point of the season.
Yeah.
Where we are with win totals, because we all made our predictions. We should just touch on that next week real quick, because I know Joe probably had them at like 8 wins right now.
I think I did.
So Joe needs the break too. He needs the break too. So excellent. Very good, guys. The Pats Nation was presented by CORSO CATONE, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. We're going to have more Pats midseason breakdown next week and Catone's comments and so much more. Come back next weekend to our show, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We will have our preview of the Cardinal game, their trip to my neck of the woods in Arizona, and so much more. We are the Pats Nation. Hey, enjoy a much-needed break.